Hey folks, Lemon02, currently playing a game of 100 card singleton against player Iniksbane. We are on Mardu, I don't know what to call it, Planeswalker Control, I suppose. It's kind of an answer to all of the 4-color aggressive decks that are out there, and so far it's done pretty good at quelling them. It's really meant to beat midrange. It can also beat aggro, though, I think, fairly well. And it runs like 10 creatures, so it doesn't really do that. It just wins with cards like Elspeth, Sun's Champion. Could have duress turn 1, opted not to. Now I want to draw lands here, so I'm not going to crack this thing. And I think here I am going to take the 1 damage, just in the hopes of drawing continued land to see what's going on in his hand here. Well, Sylvan Library is a card I don't want to have to beat. What's his only way of winning, though? Hoofs of Stag? Yeah, okay, Hoofprince Stag. I can't deal very well with enchantments, at least pre-board. So I'm going to get rid of his win con there. With the Sylvan Library, it obviously offers a very good win condition. Yeah. Well, that was, as they say, a strong one. I think we'll pop this one. Get a plateau. So we know he's only on 2 lands. Okay. Well, interesting. So we'll play this little fella out. And if he goes unmolested through the turn, which it looks very probable that he will, then I'll be able to get his Secluded Steep, the cycle land up there. And obviously he played it because he only had a 2-lander to start with. And I think he was kind of all in on the Hoofprince of the Stag and the Sylvan Library combo, which is fairly strong. I mean, although I kind of think this card in most decks is a little underwhelming. Okay, well, if he's passing it, that's probably the game. I'm not going to crack the Polluted Delta again for the same reason. Okay, well, that's not a bad one. And I'm going to continue to leave the Polluted Delta alone, and I'll just pop his 1 land that I can. His 1 non-basic. And we'll pass it back. Like I said, we want to just keep on drawing lands because Elspeth is going to be how we win this game. We have a lot of means of killing creature cards if he plays them. Well, here comes the Sylvan Library. Can't stop that. Well, there's more lands. We're going to leave up our Dwarven Blast Miner just in case he finds another land. Of note, Sylvan Library is a lot less productive here than if he had the Hoofprince. That's why I got the Hoofprince. This is WinCon. Sylvan Library may have been the right choice. Maybe his win con's just too slow. I should have assurance that I was going to draw, like, 2 additional lands, and I still need a 3rd one, so at the time, I needed 3 land cards to stay alive. I think his deck is more on a controlling side, so I don't think that the Chain Lightning, Lightning Helix, and the Crackling Doom we've drawn are going to be that great. Okay. Well, my guess would be you're not going to play non-basics here from here on out. If you have to, you just draw through them. Just take the damage. Ooh, no land on top. Okay. Well, that's sort of not good. Well, there we go. Now, what we're hoping to avoid is an Oblivion Ring or something like that, which he could very well have a non-basic in hand that he's just, holding on to. That he does not want to play out due to the fact that we have the Dwarven Blast Miner, but I think if he has one, he will play it here to get the Elspeth. And if he does not, I'll probably win. So he needs an Oblivion Ring plus a land, untapped land to cast it. Could just have okay, yeah, that card kind of spells doom. Not the crackling variety, but it certainly is a rough one to play against. All right, so we want Disenchant. Probably want Castigate. Timely, I don't think it's as good. I think maybe this guy's good. I think most of his removal is going to be white. Green doesn't have an easy time removing it. I don't think I need this or this, per se. Don't think I need this either. Just go a little lower to the ground. Do I think... Now, Collective Brutality is not going to be great in this matchup. Nature's Ruin and Perish are decent ones, but I don't think he plays enough creatures that I need to go away from my point removal package, and I still have Damnation and Toxic Deluge in the deck. Perish is likely better, maybe, in this matchup than Damnation is, because it's more efficient. But, okay, this is a good one, so it interacts with all of his permanent types very well, and we have some card advantage in the form of Hymn to Trick. This is a keep. What land do we lead with? Probably the Tarn. Just to play around Wasteland. Well, do you have a turn 1? No? Okay. Yeah, we're just going to play the turn out, turn 1. We'll take the 2 damage next turn, just to play around Wasteland, because I do want to be able to him to Turret him here. It'll kind of hopefully screw up his tempo. And what do you have? Hopefully it's not a Sylvan Library again. That card is fairly tough to beat. Okay, well, his creatures cannot be countered at this point. May just have... No, he has nothing. Okay. Well, here we'll just sack this. And I think here we want the Foundry. There's question to Smoldering Marsh because that will likely not come into play untapped all that often, whereas this land could. And we'll just play this land down to not take the damage, and we'll him. Gain some card advantage. The rest of our cards are not really... other than, like, I guess Bitter Blossom in a way is a card advantage engine. So we get Swords to Plowshares and Heliod, a God of the Sun. Okay. Well, those are fine. Wonder if he kept a Mana Light hand again. Well, no, it appears he has his lands to hit this time. And what can he cast? Okay, Ghostly Prison. That's not one that scares me whatsoever. So here... Well, I guess it probably should be. It doesn't scare me, but I mean, it is kind of annoying with a Bitter Blossom. But I can remove it fairly easily with either my Anguished Unmaking or my Vindicate. Although, it doesn't really... How much is this? 2 per? So it's essentially... Okay, well, Sylvan at 2 Tor. My guess would be he's going to get one of the Hexproof Enchantress cards. Like, I don't think if that's a human, though. I'm trying to think if the Enchantress is a human. I thought it was like a Dryad or an Elf or something like that. There's probably one of them that's a human. The one that worries... That one does not worry me. Because it's targetable. And I think we do target that. Okay. Over a card like Ghostly Prison. Well, that's not bad. Oops. I want to tap for this. Yeah. Oops. Can't figure out how I want to tap today. And we are going to Verdict him. And I might as well pay to it. I can't even pay to attack this turn, never mind. I will probably cycle my Eternal Dragon then. Likely on his turn, just to make him play around more. Alright, Choke. Why is Choke in his deck? I'm not playing Islands. Interesting. Okay. Well, neither of those cards are stellar, so we know he has a Mesa Enchantress in hand. We can deal with every single one of his permanents that he has on the board or in his hand right now. It might be a matter of top deck, I think. I don't think these Enchantress decks are that great in 100-card Singleton. I think they're very interesting. I think they're close. Maybe they are doable, though. I actually, in the Twisted Pie Cube, I actually had an Enchantress deck that went 3-0. Ended up winning that queue. It was a pretty cool deck. And I've played it before in, like, Legacy. It is a Tier 2 or 3 deck. Okay. And we'll cycle this lug. And we'll just get a Plateau. Yep. And we'll get another... Well, there's a very simple answer to this card. And, yeah, I'll pay the 2 this turn. If he misses, then I'm likely to... Yeah, if he misses, then I'm likely to just blow this Ghostly Prison up. It looks like he did not miss, though. Okay, is that a human or an elf? Oh, it is a human druid. Yeah, interesting. Well, that's a hard one to beat. So, here I think what we do is this. I think we go ahead and blow up his land. That was a solid draw on his part. Go ahead and blow up this land, just to limit him on mana production. That way, whatever enchantments he's drawing are easier to deal with. We'll see. Okay, well, he misses. Cool. Okay, well, it's about time to return our Eternal Dragon to start getting more value off of it. We'll get this because at the end of the day, like, all right, yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say without that in play, it's gonna be very easy for me to attack into him. I guess that. Oh, actually, no, that was the end of the game. Well, let's see if he wants to play another one here. This is a cool deck. I don't know. I think it's too gimmicky. I think it's a little bit too gimmicky. Maybe it's right though. I don't know. Maybe it is a good deck in the format. I just think it's going to struggle most of the time because it's like relying on very specific cards, and if your opponent has any way to interact with them, and there's specific cards to accrue card advantage because I don't think any of the cards individually are extremely powerful. But, together, synergistically, they're very strong. But if you have a way to interact with it, it's like, good game pretty much. So, we'll see what he's on this time. We're playing White Weenie this time. We'll keep this. We got a 1-drop. We have 2 2-drops. One that's interactive and one, well, I guess both are sort of interactive. One in the negative, one in the affirmative. Then we have 2 4-drops. So the hand is meh. It's marginal. If it draws lands, it actually is quite good. But the thing that stinks about it doesn't have a lot of early pressure. And we're going to want to drop Elsbeth before Ravages of War. So we have optimal draw. Even then, it's going to be a turn 5 play. Okay, looks like he's on Enchantress again. Well, I will say this. Not a solid draw, but it's okay. This card right here is actually good against Enchantress because the basis of their power is just drawing more cards than you, just outdrawing you. So if he has, like, one of the Enchantress effects, hopefully we can render it somewhat moot by disallowing its ability to draw infinite cards. Well, I can't counter spells. I do understand why you'd play that, though, in that deck because you're so reliant upon that card. Okay, we have a Secure Tribe Elder. Yeah. I'm not gonna journey to nowhere that. I'm hoping to draw land here though. Well, we do not, but this is a fine card. We'll play it out. I will attack him with my soldier if he does. I'm not gonna attack him with the spirit. I think the spirit is more important than the extra land. I think he would actually block the spirit. He may just allow this to die too. I don't know. Depends on his hand. The spirit is not worth losing though. And offensive should be okay. Well then, what do we have? Could be getting Oblivion Ringed. Which should be okay. None of these threats on their own is like great. And offense is fine. Alright, Wall of Omens. I don't think that's one that I'm going to journey to nowhere here. Although I think he probably should have tapped his Cavern of Souls to do that. Just in case, Alright, I'm going to play this out. And we'll buff this thing up. The end offense is a little more fragile, and I think it will eat removal before the soldier will, so I don't want to buff it up to a 3/3. I'd rather have the soldier, which has protection from, a lot more stuff than an offense does, including Caracas, plus it's pumpable by Sense Tactician. Evolving Wild's interesting one. Maybe an economy choice for him, or a budget choice, rather. Because I'm not a huge fan of that in this format either. I think I run fetch lands, but that one's just kind of a slow fetch land, and I think in order to maintain tempo with some of the decks in the format, you got to run the best of the fetch lands. The only one I see that like comes to play tapped and is like extremely slow that I think is decent is like Croson Verge. In the right deck, I think that card is great because it's essentially a free 2-for-1. You have a land plus you get a 2-for-1. Okie doke. Well, that card's going to be problematic. Well, we got a life and fast here. We have not drawn well on lands. Well, there's a land. I think here we're just going to play out the Sword of Fire and Ice. Probably equip it to our Sense Tactician next turn. So we'll get in. He'll block the 3/1 more than likely. Actually, did he cast the Wall of Omens into the Spirit of the Labyrinth? Yeah, he did, actually. I didn't even notice that. I shouldn't. I'm pretty sure that did nothing then for him. Alright, so, like I said, Spirit's actually not a bad one here, I don't think. Pay cost. Alright, he's going to sacrifice that and get what? Probably something that makes it infinitely impossible to attack into him. Yeah, that'd be my guess. But if I do hit another land, I could just trade with his wall, or I could Journey to Nowhere it. Alright, yeah, Ghostly Prison, the same card he used before, which is essentially just Propaganda. A white version of Propaganda. That is going to make it difficult to attack into him. And this deck's not bound to have a lot of great answers. I mean, it could have, like, yeah, there we go. Okie doke. So, we'll just equip this guy up, and we'll get in there. And next turn, no, I can't really profitably play the Armageddon here because of the prison. This thing will die, though, which is good. And next turn I have lethal unless he can wipe the board. Alright, he's got land. What do we have now? And actually, no, I think he's dead anyway. We look at it. Unless he wraths right here, which I don't know of any wraths that cost 1 white and all that green mana and colorless mana. There probably is one that I just can't think of here. Yeah, I don't think so. Unless he has like Lotus Petal, like Winds of Wrath or something. I don't know. Okay, Heliod. Well, that's game then. That would be the game. Heliod is an interesting card, but yeah, not going to do it here. Alright, so got fairly lucky there. Didn't hit the cards we wanted to, but hit some decent ones. Again, we want Disenchant, I think. Crackdown, probably not. I don't think most of his stuff's going to be targetable. Yeah, that doesn't do much in this matchup either. I was trying to think if that actually impacted what's it called, his card advantage engine. I don't think it does. Samurai the Pale Curtain, probably not. Hollow Moonlight, no. Although it does work against that I can't think of it right now. The 4/4 flying thing, enchantment, Footprints of the Stag or whatever it is. I think we're gonna cut. No, this thing's fine. Yeah, let's cut this out. It's just slow. We'll just go with this, guys. I think we could consider Sanctum Prelate. And actually, I hate to admit it here, but player Michelle Wong told me the card is underwhelming. And actually, so far it has been underwhelming since I've added it to my board. I haven't really played a lot of Azorius Control recently, though. I think that's where I know that's why I included the card. All right, well, this hand is pretty meh. I think we take our free mulligan. Yeah, this is a lot better. I'm glad we did it. I don't need more land. We'll bottom that. This is a turn 1 champ, into turn 2 Mardu War Reaper, turn 3. Values of Tenant the optimal as we draw an additional threat that cost 1 mana for turn 3. Well, not quite. Grunts will be good if we ever get board wiped. Grunts is a card a lot of people have told me is kind of like marginal for them. I've actually had good success with the card. Well, he's got the sword, so it's gone. That's okay. We do have some follow-ups. That's what this deck does. It just puts more threats on the board. 2 cards in his graveyard to note, so we do have 1 turn with Jotun Grunts if we want to kind of use it like a ball lightning. Alright, Nyx Fleece. He'll gain a lot of life. Well, not a bad one. So we can put 2 2/1s on the board. And then next turn, optimal is again draw another 1-drop into Thalia's Lieutenant. 1-drop human. I'd go for a Boros Elite. That'd be good here. Or a Mother of Runes would be fine too. Do you have an answer to one of these, or are you going to play a threat that can block my other stuff? It could be the Enchantment Senator thing, Courser of Crufix. Kind of what I'm feeling here, but he would not be able to get value off at this turn, and he'd kind of be running into removal if I had Neo, which I do not, so I like to see him building up his graveyard. That is good for us. Okay, a Blind Obedience. Well, he can start extorting. Interestingly to note, like I don't see Nyx Fleece Ram played a lot. Well, you know, we didn't hit optimal, but we hit pretty close to it. This is a 2/1. It's fine. And this guy. And let's start getting the damage in there. You take 3 here. Essentially 2 because of the life gained. If he puts 1 more card in his graveyard, do I play the Jotun Grunts? I think actually I do, yeah. Because the Nyx Fleece Ram is going to be, unless I hit my removal, a fairly tall order. And even then, like, do I really want to remove a Nyx Fleece Ram? Not really. Although of note, it also dies to enchantment removal, which I do have 1 more piece of in the deck, although it's not a deck that is littered with enchantment or artifact removal. I think enchantment artifact removal is fine, but in white, and there's very good cards that do that in white. But they need a lot of them do not support my main theme, the main theme in my deck, which is to kill them rapidly, kill the opponents rapidly that I play. That's why I think like the only main deck one is like Leon and Relic Warder. Could play Council's Judgment. A lot of people do. It's just slow in my experience. All right, well, only 2 cards in graveyard. I'll block one of the 3 ones. Take 6. Down to 12. So let's think this through. If I get in, you know what? I'm going to play it out. And here's the reason why. I'm going to save the land. I'm going to play it out, and the reason being is this. He has to block that. If he blanks for a whole turn and doesn't get anything, then he needs to block that and take 3 plus 6, 9 damage, which puts him to lethal on the following turn if he doesn't get anything relevant on the board this turn to block. He may just hit a relevant spell, though. But at this point, I'm thinking he doesn't probably have Wrath effects in his deck. But I could just be walking into it. Okay, well, there's Eidolon of Blossoms. That'll allow him to draw a card here. And he can also block, but that only trades with my Thalia's Lieutenant. And at this point, it doesn't even trade with that because of the human I just drew. So good draw there. Then we're going to crash in there. Of note, we don't play like Always Watching and stuff like that in the deck. I don't think those cards are good. I think they're fine in certain decks, but that's not the deck I have here. Yep, okay, well, he trades with the Thalia's Lieutenant and takes a whole boatload of damage. I don't know why he's not blocking the Jotun Grunts out. The Jotun Grunts is the right block there. Take 5, 9 now? I like that. 9 down to 4. Okay, he's reconsidering this. I think he wants to block. Okay, he wants to trade with my 3-2. I don't know if that's correct or not. But you can take the trade if you like. I think the Grunt should be blocked over the 3-2, though. I don't see why you wouldn't block there. I have 0 cards in hand, so there's no tricks here. Okay, down to 5, up to 6. And he's got to do something here to stop us from killing him. We'll lose the Grunts, but we already have 6 unless he plays another creature down that will be required to block. Okay, Faith's Fetters. That's a lot of life gain. He gets that thing. Yep, that dies. Well, that was a good draw. Because now he can't really play the game anymore. Maybe he can luck out and have more lands, but it seems like he's been kind of out of lands for a while now. And we'll attack with all our available creatures. Do likely 4 damage to him. Up to 7. Well, do you have more land, good sir? If you do not, I think the game is probably over. It's going to be a slow kill. But I think it's right to play out the Gideon there. It would have been nice to have it a turn earlier so I could have saved my Grunts. Well, there's a card I can play once I hit more land. And of note, the Flagstones of Troy here was a good value for him, but I mean, I don't think on 1 land. I think this deck needs more lands than this. So he has to do something relevant this turn or draw a kill spell for one of our threats. Yep, good games. Yeah, so it was a pretty tall order. Alrighty. I wonder what this deck's matchup's like against red deck wins. Well, let's check it out. Let's see if he wants to play another. And or not, I don't know. Yeah, let's try it out. I haven't played this deck in a little while. Not my favorite deck to play, but it's a fine deck. It's actually one of the more feared decks, I think, in the format from an aggressive deck standpoint, although I don't think it's the best. I think that deck we're just playing, the Death and Taxes, aggressive deck is probably the best. The one thing that makes this deck scarier, especially for control, is that it's very hard to utilize their card advantage engines like Wrath of God, Supreme Verdict, to get value during it. Plus, it just requires a whole tap out. You know, they're spending more mana on their counter spells to counter your more efficient spells. But what I think it gains in like the control matchup, I think it loses in the Green X mid-range matchups, which I think is a more common matchup. I don't think control is bad. I just think control is very specific to the meta you're in with this format. If mid-range is the thing, you know, and everyone who's winning is on mid-range, then if you go more controlling, kind of like a Mardu deck we've been working on, and or like, you know, Azorius control, then you could probably tend to do well. All right, have fun, man. Yes, keep. I'm not going to play out the Mutavault turn 1. We'll likely play out the Berserker. Or do I? I save Berserker. Can use to gain a lot of value off Shrine of Burning Rage. Shrine of Burning Rage is going to be a card that needs to be answered. So the way our play sequence looks is this. I think we do lead with the Berserker. And then next turn, we are very likely to use the Mutavault. To cast the Shrine of Burning Rage, on the following turn, cast down the Hellion. This is going to be a little bit of a slower. This is more of an investment hand for red deck wins because of the Shrine. Shrine is a complete investment card. If they have an answer to it, that's rough. That's a good 3 as well. Maybe I even go with that one. I don't know. I should probably cast this out in second main, but for F6 value, I am playing it now. So that's technically wrong. Misplay number 1. If he's on like Abzan or something, we're probably going to lose. Although we do have a lot of like red deck wins card advantage cards, like Goblin Rabblemaster is a card advantage card. I look at Shrine of Burning Rage as a card advantage and investment card. It's essentially like in this deck, you need to look at Shrine of Burning Rage as is like Sylvan Library, because oddly enough, like the card is essentially drawing you cards in a lot of ways because it's just doing whatever your cards do anyway, it's just damage. It's just slow. All right, what do we have here? A Nature's Lore. Okay, well, he is on Abzan, which means this match is going to be significantly tougher for us to win. The question I ask myself is, do I lead with the Rabblemaster this next turn, or do I go with the Lanthu Hellion? I think the right answer here is this guy, because I think he's going to be forced to block. I think it is this guy. Because I think the Lanthu Hellion can trade for something bigger than it. This is slower. So we are kind of slow playing this. So, like, that's kind of a note, like, you know, when I build red deck wins, I don't always just build it all out, like, and I don't play it all out either, like, for optimal mana efficiency to damage, because I think in this matchup, it's very easy to lose to, like, cards like Kitchen Finks, Siege Rhinos, etc. Stuff that like will exchange life total. So of note, we're not playing it for optimal damage to mana ratio. Right now we're kind of playing with an eye for investment so we can win the long game if it goes to that, which I think it will. He's up 4 mana at this point, so there's a lot available to him. I don't have interactive cards in hand on a burn. The Abbot could easily turn into burn, but I don't have it right now. So we're going to see a Siege Rhino. That's kind of what I'm feeling. No, Greens and Zenith to get a Kitchen Finks, my assumption would be. And that will gain him 2 life back up to 18, basically back up to 20, because I think he'll trade with my Rab. Or will he? Yeah, he probably will. But so our long game is Shrine. He could also get Reclamation Sage and blow up my Shrine. And actually, that's probably a stronger play. Well, I don't know. He has to be leery of like cheap burn. Or he gets that card. Interesting. I don't think that's right. Of note. Okay, well, here what I'm going to do is this. If he wants to trade with the Rabblemaster, I will accept that. If he tries to trade with the Lightning Berserker, or if he tries to eat the Lightning Berserker, then I will Searing Spirit and invest a mana into it. All right, he just trades. Well, possibly we misplayed there. Well, we're in a weird spot. We had to play that land down so that we could do the play. I was thinking he's probably going to block the Berserker. So I am going to still play out the Abbot here, which feels bad because I already played my land for the turn. But if I hit land off the top, I've at least clarified or purified my top deck. And I still have Searing Spear available to me at this point. Knowing myself, I'll hit land because, the play in context of what he did was a little suboptimal. Alright, Searing Blaze, well, I can't cast that anyways. But that's alright. Our chances of hitting something relevant that was not land is actually decently high with 2 mana available to us. Okay, so he's traded for Rabs. We have a Searing Spear available to get a play on his turn. We have 4 counters on the Shrine of Burning Rage. We obviously knew he drew that because we saw it on top with the Courser. His 4 cards. If it's a Planeswalker, I don't feel like that's extremely relevant. Yeah, like Planeswalker's not going to do it here because their board is pretty developed. Yeah. I feel pretty good about this. Feel pretty good. So, I mean, I have 4 additional power and attackers in my lands, although I'm kind of loath to fire them up until my board's been exhausted. So I don't want to expose them to, like, removal. Like disfigures and stupid stuff, lightning bolts. Well, actually, I'm sorry, not lightning bolts, but like, disfigure, stuff like that. I guess go for the Throat on the Mutavault. Doomblade on the Mishra's Factory. That just feels bad. You're just down on mana, and this deck actually is pretty mana hungry. This red deck wins is. Because you want to optimize it every turn as much as possible, generally speaking. Alright, this is Sorin, a Lord of Innistrad. Interesting. I'm going to put a 1-1 into play. I think here... Well, Sorin's dead either way, so I'm not going to waste this Searing Spear on it. Sorin is dead. Well, we are going to play this out. Get another counter in our Shrine of Burning Rage, which if he ever finds an answer to this, it's going to be bad for us because we are kind of riding out that card pretty heavily. What does he trade with here? I think Sorin, you, Sorin, and Sorin. I think he probably trades with the Abbot here, but I could be wrong on that. It's either Abbot or the Lightning Berserker. Because either way he looks at it, his Sorin is quite dead. Alright, well, yep, I'll plus it. He could have removal for this thing. Yeah, I'd like to prevent that. I'd like to get 8 damage out of it. Now he's in some deep water. Yeah. Unless he can remove, like... What's his best draw here? Probably, like, Reclamation Sage gives him a blocker for the Berserker or the Lanthu Hellion and gets the Shrine of Burning Rage. I mean, you could have, like, Primeval Titan, but, like, I think we're too close to winning. Actually, I know it, because this thing already has 6, so it'll be a 7. It only gives him 1 blocker. He blocks the Lanthu, takes 3, and the additional 6, well, 7, I guess, comes off of the Shrine of Burning Rage. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, even if he, like, Wrath of Gods here, I still think we're winning this. Which I don't think is a card likely in his deck. I think he's more of a mid-range deck. I think he probably plays a lot of creatures and planeswalkers and just small interactive spells. Was actually just talking about it. Yeah, I think Kasali Pride Mage, Wickerbow Elder, Reclamation Sage, actually Acidic Slime. Acidic Slime would be very good too. So interesting game. Obviously, if he removes the shrine, then the game is definitely live again. I think it is winnable for him. Yeah, Wickerbow Elder, Reclamation Sage, Kasali Pride Mage, or Acidic Slime. I mean, heck, he could even have, like, Uktabi Orangutans in there. I don't think that's a card that you see in much play anymore because it's been replaced by a much better card, Reclamation Sage. But it's definitely a good one. And it's an ape. And any card called Sex Monkeys is good in my book. And the art is hilarious on it. Thus the name. Yeah, I think you are, actually. Yeah, he's just lethal on ground pounders there. Okay, so this is a Blood Moon game. This is also a Magus of the Moon game. This is a Price of Progress game. I think that's all we need. I don't think we need this guy. I think it's just worse than his 4s are, and it's not likely to get through very easily. Ball Lightning, I think I keep. What don't I like? Need the 1-drops. Flame Rift is just so efficient. I think I'm going to cut the Grenzo. This card has not actually performed well for me. It's kind of cool, but like it's just... I don't know. I just haven't been impressed by it. I'd rather have haste creatures. Or a card like Young Pyromancer where like I can actually cast the cards I get off. Because I mean, like, at 34 land deck, I'm not really planning on casting big stuff. No, it was definitely lethal. What is the last cut card? Oh, Hammer Garrison. Yeah, the card's fine against like I don't know. I like it okay against like control. Specifically like counter and like board control, like Wrath of God decks, because you just hold it in your hand, and when they like wipe away like your 2 1-drop creatures, you can play that thing, and if they don't have an answer for it, 1 for 1, and look at the tap out again. It's okay there. I guess it's okay in the mid-range matchup, but like I just feel like he's gonna have like an Abrupt Decay or like a Go for the Throat for it, and it's just slow. It is a slower, more investment-based card. That's kind of like one of the things I've done with this deck is just gone. I mean, it still has the red deck win speed to it, but it also can play a bit of an investment game. You have some interesting choices on the board. Like I don't see a lot of people play Havoc. I think Havoc is a necessary one because white decks will almost always beat this deck if they're played well. But also has Pyrite Spellbomb and Curse Scroll to answer the problem white cards that are like Silver Knight, Core Firewalker, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a keep. So it has the Magus. The Magus is going to be clutch here. We got to get him on a tap-out turn with it. He's in the play, which means I can bolt his birds if he has them. What's the worst for us? Thoughtseize, more than likely. I don't think that card would have stayed in, though. So hoping to see birds here. Nope, no birds. Well, land would be good. Not land, but not a bad card either. That is a 1-drop we can cast. And we'll put it on the board and force him to deal with it. Now, of note, it's not much to deal with. It's a 2/2. And it can't ever block. And, well, yeah. You got to play some suboptimals when you're playing red deck wins. To include the Rakdos Cacklers. Alright, a Caracas. Well, what do you have here? Hopefully something we can interact with other bolts. Although, Kargan Dragonlord has really grown on me. I'm going to kill that as soon as I can. Well, we know what we are doing on turn 3. Let's just hope whatever he casts is something we can bolt. And if it's not, well, we'll see. Oh, if he's out of lands, that's not good. I'm going to save the bolt here. Well, that's not a bad one either. I'm just going to jam this thing. If he has the Swords to Plowshares, he'll have to tap his mana before it resolves to kill it. Okay, got it. Yep. Yeah, Magus, if they don't have it, is obviously good. Means he's never casting a spell again. That's why we boarded it in, because red can do that. Oh. I think the game is over. I don't know why it's telling me to concede the game. Interesting. Okay, there we go. Moto finally caught up. Not my favorite style of deck to play, but, it is a very successful deck in the format. I think I've gone to second place with it before. I've only played it once in competitive play. And I think I took second place. I do, however, think I had one crucial misplay involving use of a Pyroblast against, what's the card's name? Impulse. Alright, what do we feel like playing this time? Let's play some Grixis. If he'd like. We'll see. Maybe he's done for the day, I don't know. We shall see if we play on. And this Grixis deck is sweet. This is probably one of my top 5 favorite decks to play. It's a very fun deck. Actually, the general framework for this deck was not built by me. It was actually built by Player Dots, and I think it's a great deck. I've changed it probably within 10 cards, maybe 12. We'll mull that. Keep this. It's a good one, and we'll put that on top. I'm gonna want lands with this hand. Nothing we can interact with on turn 1. I think what we'll do, likely, is find an Underground Sea, duress his hand, and leave up Daze. Yeah. Alright, Underground Sea. Man, what's going on over here? Well, we get that. And Offensa. Well, maybe we just let the Fleecemane happen here. The Anafenza is definitely more of a threat. Can I really afford to go... I don't think I can. I think I need to let the Fleecemane resolve and find a way to kill it. Unless he just doesn't leave this... Yeah, he takes the damage. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get killed by Anafenza. That card is too good. I wish I could daze this, but I don't think I can. So we got to let that happen. Even though we said we wanted to daze. That's why duress is awesome. Because if we had just run into an Anafenza, that would have been a rough. And here, to minimize what he can draw, what I do want to do is memory lapse this card. Although, he had enough land in hand. Maybe I do want to just daze it. Interesting. Tap land. Okay. Well, we have a lot of no. We have a lot of ways to say no. We need to find a way to kill, and also get this cryptic command online. So, like, land or kill spells are not bad here. And or we can just find a threat of our own. One of our delve threats that allows us still to leave up counter magic. Well, he appears to be trying to play around Daze, and or I just missed that he had the wrong kind of lands in hand. But I think even if I knew he had the Vesuva, I didn't look at all the land cards he had, I wouldn't have wanted to Daze that, because if he just tops one land, he's got us. Alright, well, what do you got? Nothing this turn. Okay, well, we'll take our 3 and have to like it. Well, Kalitas is a fine one. Not the best of our threats, just due to the fact that we have to tap out for it. Although, once I disallow this Anafenza, I may play it out if I draw additional land. Well, he's played around Daze pretty admirably to this point, although I believe he had to based on his draw. Yeah. If he has another land, he can make a 4/4... You know, can't be killed by anything. What do we think of that card? Alright, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to disallow this, then daze the Anafenza. So, we will get, well, I guess we got to get this. Yep. And if you slam the Anafenza here, I'm going to daze her. Oh, down to 10. This thing is a sizable clock. Hate spending 3 mana to stop a 1-drop, but it is what it is. Does he fall for our trap? He has to know it's a trap. He knows we know he has Anafenza. So I think the wise play for him is to just not cast her here. Well, if he does that, he'll be able to get in 3 more damage, and I'll just either Memory Lapse or get an island to play Cryptic Command. If I get Cryptic Command, okay, well, he trusts us to know that we know what he has in hand, which is smart. Well, there's our island. So the hope here is he mistaps a little bit, and we're able to Cryptic Command his card and flip his Fleecemane Lion. The nicest thing would be to... I don't have the T-Del. I wish I did, although I am at 10 life, and I need to get the Kalitas down sooner rather than later. I do know he has Anafenza in hand, and he has the land to make this thing invincible now. If he does that, I think what I'll end up doing is flipping it back to hand. That's a huge waste of his mana. It's essentially a counter spell, and if he's going to do it, it makes sense to do it here, but I guess he's not going to. Okay, interesting. Well, we got to pass it, guys. Do you sink all your mana into it? No, you do not. Interesting. Wonder why not. I think the best play there was to sink all of his mana into it. Well, that's a good one. Alrighty. Could make it invulnerable here if he wants. Or not vulnerable, but hexproofed, which will not counter the spell. I'll still draw my card. And then I'm going to be relying on what? I don't know. Probably can't win this one. It could be tough. Although we could just... Oh, I guess it does counter it. My bad. Well, that's not going to help us here. Well, we've got a block here. Do we want to show him more cards or not? That's the question. He's got 3 in hand. He definitely played well with this card. I don't think he would have monstrous it at end step because he already had lethal. If I was at 4 life, it actually would have put me in a much better stead. Yeah, need to draw land a little bit earlier and a more efficient threat. So Kalitas is not going to do it here. We'll go ahead and concede it as opposed to showing him information. And we will bring in the Parish, the Nature's Ruin. And what else do I think? Flash Freeze seems fine, too. I think those are the best cards in this matchup. What don't we want? Well, we definitely want the Minor Package. Counter Squall, I think, can go. I think Disallow can go. It's just slow. So is Dissolve. These 3-mana counter spells I'm not as high on. Yeah, I'm going to cut these 2. I'm just going to keep the efficiency, or keep efficiency as high as I can. And I think Toxic Deluge, Perish, and Nature's Rune are going to do me better. They come from behind better than counterspells do. Although they cannot stop Planeswalkers, so if he has a Planeswalker heavy draw, he could just get us. Okay, fine hand. We will keep this one. Serum Visions, turn 1. Turn 2, likely to leave up Miscalculation. Denies our ability to cast the Vendilion Click, but I do want to stop any, early threats. So let's look at our top deck and see what we got coming, or see what we're putting in the bottom. I do like Baleful Strix. I do not need more land. So put that on the bottom and put the Strix on top. And I think on the second turn of the game, I think we look to leave up Miscalc. That could be wrong, though. We'll see what he does. If he plays down a Mana Dork, no Mana Dork. Okay, well, I think he has a play turn 2 then. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And this also opens up my choices for the next turn as well. I do think on turn 4, I need to be Factor Fictioning. So next turn, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be casting the Temple of Malice. Okay, he has another land. Hey, what have you got? Probably something like a Fleecemane or a Grimflayer or something like that. That's what I'm expecting, because he didn't keep a Mana Dork heavy hand. Or he didn't have any Mana Dorks, at least, to start off with. Alright, a Kasali Pride Mage. We are going to cast this to Miscalculate. This also ups the value of our Baleful Strix. I figure his deck is more aggressive than ours is. Well, not a bad one in the late game. Certainly it's not something we want to see right now. Yeah. We're actually going to top that, interestingly enough. Play this thing out. And the reason we're topping it is because his hand does not have a lot of ramp. So I think he's going to be 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. I think. We'll see, though. It also allows me the option to utilize the Vendilion Click and the Factor Fix, or correction, the Vendilion Click plus the Force Spike. Interesting. All right, Lingering Souls. Well, that does admirably stop the Force Spike, which is not good. Well, we're going to play this land out, and we'll hang back. I am not opposed to blocking with my Baleful Strix. And if he has a 2-drop plus recast of the souls, then so be it. My guess is, though, he has a 4-drop in hand. This is the rationale I'm thinking behind for him keeping the hand. I think he probably has a Planeswalker. Okay, well, he has that. Cool. That's fine with me. Are you just going to recast it? You can get in with the souls. I'm fine with that. We can't recast the souls now. Interesting. We're not going to cast anything else. All right. You're going to force me to react to what you're doing. He seems like he believes that I have counter magic, which I do not. So, well, I guess I do. I have the Force Spike, which is, pretty bad counter magic. It's not bad when he's a tap-out style deck, though. You have a counter spell for this. Interesting. All right, Light Tutor. That's fine, dude. I couldn't have countered that if I wanted to. What does he get? Probably a Birthing Pod, which would be nice if he has no more lands and he tries to Birthing Pod us. Although, yeah, Birthing Pod makes sense. Well, I'm probably going to have counter magic at this point. Hymnal to Turek, plus Wasteland, plus Fatal Push, plus Arc Trail. Wow, this is a strong pull. This is a very strong pull. I don't know how you split this one. Think of it from his shoes. I know how I want these cards to fall. I want all of them, to be honest. I'm probably going to take the bigger pile here. I don't think there's a bad card in this set of pulls. The worst card is Fatal Push. Hymn to Turek is actually probably the strongest from this point in the game. Although of note, he still does have... what do I take here? I think I do take the Arc Trail. It forces him to recast. Plus, I can take him off black mana. So I could go like Arc Trail, Wasteland. I think are probably the strongest. Force of Will is just card disadvantage, and like I don't think I'm at a point in the game where like I need to be casting it. Okay, he takes those two. All right, it's definitely going to be the bigger pile. Okay, what do you put with it? All the black cards, or yeah, I'm taking the top pile. That's how you pile it. That's a tough one to pile, though, I think. So I'll definitely blow up your black land, your black producing land, Arc Trail, your 2 spirits, and then hope to Force Spike your Birthing Pod. Of note, though, I could Vendilion Click to the bottom, but I don't think I'm at that point yet. I think I'd rather just counter it, get value off the Force Spike. I don't really need to threaten him yet. Plus, if he just mises black mana, then he can recast his other half of that card. I like how this is piled, though. Although I'm going to be very loath to use the Force of Will here. This is a tough pile, though. Very tough pile. I think the better split is probably putting the Wasteland with the Hymn. We're going to choose this pile. Take the bigger pile and the one I actually want a little bit more. Well, that was a strong one, too. And I do want to get Birthing Pod with Force Spike, so I'm not going to play out the Demon this turn. Plus, his capacity for removal is probably higher than my own, and I know he's already blown 1. And he actually went down on card advantage by getting the... Okay, well, that's an interesting one. Can't really deal with that. Can block it all day long. Oh, he's definitely not going to run out his Birthing Pod. So I'll have to put a threat on the board and force him to deal with it. But it wasn't worth the tap out here because I guess I could just ditch the Force Spike and have a 5/5 in play. Maybe I'm playing too careful here. But I think this is right, though. I think it just leaves our options open. We just continue to grind card advantage out of them. Okie doke. Well, then, what we're going to do here is this. We're just going to play our land out and tap it. I don't need to play Vendilion Clique plus this card in the same turn. And here, I'm going to yeah, this way. I know I don't leave a counterspell in the graveyard, but I could also very easily get Force of Will in the graveyard for the Torrential Gearhulk when I draw my additional land. But I think the Mental Misstep plus the Force Spike plus the Force of Will... Actually, I have all blue cards in hand, so my hand is pretty good, I think. Unless he gets a Thrun, but even if he has a Thrun, what's Thrun going to do here? Yeah. And this is part of the reason why it's good. Actually, I don't even need to take damage here, do I? I'll just tap. I'm so used to playing Vintage where you never pay mana for that card. Well, I guess sometimes you do, but it's very rare. It's definitely the exception. That was a nice pull. Just very efficient answer to efficient removal. Okay, well, there's the black mana, so he's going to have his Lingering Souls if he wants. Maybe he doesn't want to do that, though. Okie doke. Well, also of note, if he wants to lose 2 life, he could also cast out his Birthing Pod and play around the Force Spike, which he may do because he's seen Daze out of my deck already. I don't think he's seen the Force Spike yet. Okay, just this. That's fine. Not a worry to me. Well, that's a good one. Then you can start blocking me. The spirits do not race the Tomb Stalker, to my knowledge. Now the question is, if when I go to use this Cryptic Command, so essentially have, what, 3 counters up this turn? A Force Spike, Force of Will, and Cryptic Command? Are all castable? Yuck. And actually, I think we want to look to save the Cryptic Command because it's actually a very good answer to the Merit Lage token with the capability to bounce. Well, I do have other answers to it, just not if a Spirit stays in play, like Edict Effects, Liliana's, stuff like that. Well, then again, if I just hit land, I have that ability untap with the Torrential Gearhulk. I don't think you attack here. All right, nothing. All right, I'll wait on Vendilion Clique. Exclude's not a bad one either. If he just wants this thing to be the Abyss, then we can play that game. And we'll just do Drago. Drago's fine with this deck. Now we will cast the Vendilion Clique on his end step. See what he's working with. How does he make Dark Depths work? He has to have Thespian Stage in there to make it work. Or like a Hex Mage. Either of which I can counter quite easily right now. Although, again, I don't really want to burn through a Force of Will on my other card. I mean, I just want to grind down card advantage. And that's why I'm using the Tombstalker the way I am. It's just, it's essentially the Abyss. And once you can't answer it and there's no creatures on the board, it just wins for me. Hey, no problems, man. I would say your ounce are fairly decent. You just, based on the holdings in my hand, I don't think there probably are ounce. I think if I play well, I don't think I can lose this game. My hand is ridiculous. Although I still would like one more land. Exclude has a way of doing that as this Cryptic Command, just getting a little deeper. So I do think we cast out the Vendilion Clique. If he tries passing it again to just do nothing, then I will cast out the Vendilion Clique, see what's in his hand, and I'm not afraid to not take a card out of his hand just to have perfect information. Because the 3-1's going to be relevant here. It's 8 damage down to 10, and if I draw a land, I can make it lethal on the following turn. It's not lethal. It's a 3-turn clock in and of itself, but if I hit land, then Torrent Gearhulk makes it lethal on the following turn. Yeah, they're probably, unless I really, really screw this up, I don't think they're probably ounce from this. It's just, I have so much no in my hand that it would have to be something special. Like, I don't know, like Black Lotus mock something into like obliterate to restart the game because I couldn't counter the obliterate. Although of note, I could bounce one of my lands. And I could float mana. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I don't throw a lot of ounce from that. I'll just show my hand just so you know. Yeah, probably not, dude. Maybe not true, though. I don't know what his hand was. If it was like 4-drop, 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 like, yeah, probably not, because I just counter one a turn. Yeah, there was like I don't think any way out of that. But like obliterate, but like then like, even if he cast obliterate, I could just like float blue mana and cast a 3/1 and just beat him to death with it. It flash speed after it resolved, and he has like no lands. I don't know. That's an option. Or I could have Cryptic commanded one of my lands back to hand. And like I don't know what else it is. They draw a card, I guess, hoping to hit more land. All right. Well, I think this one's got to go back, guys. It's close. Like one blue. Now, we got to mull that. All right, it's a keeper. We're gonna bottom that. Dress turn 1. Hopefully get something good like Birthing Pod. Mana Dork or discard is bad here. Mana Dork, it appears it is. Hopefully not a Deathrite, a Shaman. That would be the best one for him. Okay, that one's not the best. I could just Wasteland him, but no, that seems bad to me. Especially since we've drawn that. Well, he's got a lot of... Can't cast any of it, though, on his current hand. So I may just actually Wasteland him this next turn, or I'll leave up Remand. Does he draw the land? He missed. All right. Well, that's very good for us that he missed there. He kept a greedier one. Probably should have attacked. Alright, we're going to play this out, play it safe, and look to remand him. I'm not going to Wasteland him this turn because I want to be able to electrolyze him on the following turn. But we do have remand available. That was a greedy keep on his part. I don't think that hand is per se great against this deck. It's a lot of good cards. And against like a permanent heavy deck, I think it's very good. But my creatures are pretty, like, I have, like, Creeping Tar Pits. Man, keeping Greedy Hand and Strength of my Sylvan Library get punished. Yeah, you did. That's kind of what we're talking about is, you can... Sylvan Library is a beast in this matchup because, like, once it hits the board, I can't answer it. I think here to play most safe, we blow up his land to keep him off of Eternal Witness mana. And then, if he draws land, so be it. Yep, good games. Yeah, no, it is. This is maximum punishment for that hand. Good games, man. Yeah, we had electrolyze. I mean, it's pretty busted against what he had. The hands didn't pair up well, and that happens. Sometimes you just have bad hands that don't pair up well when you keep on greedy keeps, and that happens. You know, no big. Just it is what it is sometimes. Let's play some Naya. This is my least favorite color combination of note. It was a deck player Michelle Wong challenged me to build. I don't think it's good. Or maybe it just needs more like good white cards. Like it needs more good removal is what it needs. Maybe I need to like have like, you know, more planeswalkers and like banishing lights and stuff like that. And their oblivion rings, council's judgments, stuff like that. It's not truly an aggressive deck right now. I tried that mode out with it, but it is like more of a low to the ground mid range deck. Okay, we're gonna keep this. A lot of 3-drops, but Dwarven Miner could be randomly great. That of the Reliquary, obviously great. Eternal Witness, great. Thalia, great. His hand's actually pretty decent, just slow. Like, I would have preferred to have, like, a good, solid 1-drop. There's a 5-drop. Not a card I really needed. What's the worst for us here? Him to Turek actually wouldn't be the worst, unless it hit both our lands. Then it would be, like, the absolute nuts. Well, what do we have? Alright, an efficient 2-drop that goes into more cards. However, we can disrupt that. Well, you showed up a turn too late, my man. Now I don't know when I'm going to find time to cast that. If I draw another land, probably turn 4. Because I think, unless he removes this, I'm going to go mining with my miner, with Big Sexy as I call him. So if you ever looked at the art on this guy, he looks hilarious. Matter of fact, for entertainment value, we're going to pull it up before it gets Path to Exiled here. Look at that guy. And the text is just great. I have no clue what Apaka is, or what the Pest Ritter is, Rutabagas, I assume to be some sort of fruit. I don't know. Weird card. Cool art. Awesome flavor text. That card's good. Got one of my own. Yep, you can hit me. You try to out-aggro me. We'll cast this fella out. I don't want to flip his Dustwatch Recruiter. If I blow up a land and his Dustwatch Recruiter flips, it's basically the same as, like, you know, just doing nothing over my turn because it's going to be more efficient to cast creatures. He'll get more damage in this way. Well, that card's got to go. But we can make a lot of mana next turn because of the Lotus Cobra and the Knight, unless the Knight or the Cobra get removed while I'm in the middle of doing it. Or we could just get Wasteland. No, I think what we do is hopefully we draw land to start with. A fetch land would be the best because then we could just like blow. This hand could blow up. Dwarven Blast Miner getting blown up. Big Sexy. Took down a Council's Judgment all on his own. Alright, we're getting beat down here. Do we equip a sword next turn? No, not quite. We can cast a sword next turn. Alright. Big ol' Sexy. Alright, well his Gavany Township is just about on order. And your go at it. Do you have more land is kind of the question. And if he like goes all in on this, I do have a lot of mana. So, like, alright, there's a Gideon, but I think we can get that thing. Does he make a 2-2? Cool. We can kill the Gideon next turn if he goes all in here. Or is he going with both? Sweet. That's pretty good for us. No, he stays back. Interesting. You're going to stay back. Okie doke. Playing it smart. There you go. Well, here we need to get a basic. We'll have one forest in here. Interesting. Thought we had two. Okay. Well, I hate to do it, but Garrick needs to be cast here. And Garrick needs to blow up this thing. Alright, that thing's dead. His attacks are quite minimal here. Now, hopefully he doesn't hit a land. If he does, well, he does. But I do have Knight of the Reliquary up. Interesting. Well, I got to leave up my blockers. Hopefully he misses on land for a turn, and then I can play a Thalia and or a Sword of Fire and Ice of my own. So the notion I'm going through is like, do I want to get a Wasteland and blow up his Gavany Township so he doesn't plus his team? I think the answer is no, I don't. I need to hope he misses because I win more games that way. And I need the Knight to block this turn because the Knight can block out the Gideon. Alright, yep. Do you have the land, good sir? Okay. Alright, up to 4/4 status, finding fetch land, which the fetch land will be this one. And no, I can't make mana this turn, unfortunately. No. And we will get the Dryad Arbor. And this guy will die. No, I'm good. No. Alright, so my Knight dies here. And what have you got? What is your follow-up threat? Okay, a Mirroring Crusader. Well, that's not good for us. Although, if he decides to continue going aggro, we may be able to just get him with a sword hit. Okay, well, there's a land, but it's luckily tapped. If he wants to fire up the Gideon, I'll throw something silly in front of it, I think. The rest of his stuff is going to have a tough time attacking in. I will trade the Thalia for the Mirroring Crusader here. Although I think if he's disciplined, he will not do that. Okay. No attacks. Okay, 3/3 status. And he's gonna hunt. Yeah, he's gonna hunt. Yep. Sword of Feast and Famine would be one of our better draws, I think. I mean, although it's still not even that great. Yeah, Deathright, fine. Well, what's going to jump in front of her? Just that thing. Okay. Well, start pumping the team. The Mirror Crusader hits half my life total. So you need to kill him in like one big swoop. Could just pump team. Is that what he's doing here? I know a Sigarda. Oh, she's tapped though. Does have hexproof, so Karakas is nothing there. Well, what do you do this turn? Just gonna make another little 2/2. Okay. This is the thing, some players they play not to lose. And I don't think he's in a situation where I think he could be pressuring us too. We are at 9. I think I'm wrong on that. Well, so 5 in the air. And put a knight ally in front of her. And we got to do this. We'll replay her. Oops. And we're probably dead here. We're taking 6 in the air. That thing flips because I cast 2 spells to include the Sylvan Library. But I do get a draw step off Sylvan, which is not bad. Although I think I'm fairly limited on what I could find here. Oh, he's not turning the... yeah, he's not turning the Gideon on. He definitely has an attack with the Sigarda. Could plus it to a 6/6. Although if he uses the Gavany Township, can still favorably block the Mirror Crusader. If he has removal for the Thalia, I'm just dead. Okay, I know what I'm sacrificing if that's what you're doing here. I will lose my 1/1 land that's already tapped and can do nothing this turn. I think you're better off plussing with the Gavany Township than playing that card, to be honest with you. I don't think it's relevant enough here. And you get it for 6. Well, what are my best draws? All right, so Sigarda gets in. 4, 5. What are my best draws? Scavenging Ooze is not a bad one. Okay, so we take 6 in the air. We have to block everything else if it gets plussed. So what can I attack with? I don't really have attacks, do I? Well, Can single block this with a knight ally. Or I could double block it. Only have 1 green mana, so the ooze is not even good here. I don't really want the ooze. And the Noble Hierarch is kind of bad as well. Get in with his Sigarda. Okay, well, that comes into play tap. That means he can flip my Thalia, which means I don't want to leave it up for blocks. +1/+1. Okay, well, all right. Now he's got me by using his Gideon, and he's going to plus in the air and kill us. Game, I think, stretched on a little bit longer than I had to, though, here. Okie doke. I'm pretty sure he sees it. Okay. And that'll be the game. 7 damage for Xaxes. And let's begin the sideboarding process. So, I think in this matchup, what we want is not most of this, but we do want Armageddon. I think that is good. I also think we want Sword of Light and Shadow over Fire and Ice. I don't think Fire and Ice is great in this matchup. Timely Reinforcements. What do I think of that card? I think it's good enough. I do want Fiery Justice, although it's almost impossible to cast. Flame Tongue Kabu's good. Birthing Pod's fine. What don't I like in this matchup? The miners seem good. How about Deck and Stone? Get out of there. It's just 2 mana removal. It gives them a card. Nissa, the Voice of Zendikar, I think I'll cut as well. I think Gideon is going to be good in this matchup if we can get to that point and kind of maintain board parity and remove his relevant threats. Although of note, like, that's the one weakness of this deck that I just don't like, is like its removal package is not good. It's not good enough. I probably need like another banishing. Like, I just don't like 3 mana removal. Like 3 mana removal is just, I don't know. I guess when you're used to playing with like black, you're used to having all of the great removal. Okay, well, this is a non-keepable hand. Mull. This hand's a keep. Not great, but we'll keep it. We have 2 miners, which the miners seem to be good. He may be going to 5. What does this do again? All right, what are all the options on it? Yeah, no. We're going to bottom that thing. That thing's not good enough. But the Treetop Village, turn 1. Birds of Paradise, second turn. Hand is kind of slow. The Zealous Conscripts may be nice late game and steal something. Didn't see a lot of pro-red stuff in his deck. Do you have a turn 1 Mana Dork? Hopefully not. Worse would be like, I don't know, like a discard spell. Like an Inquisition of Kozilek or a Thoughtseize for the birds would be rough here, because we don't know if we have red mana on top of our deck. We did bottom the Boros Charm of note, though. I don't think it's good enough here. I don't care to do 4 damage to him. I don't think he's a Wrath deck. So we shall see. All right, Mana Dork, it appears. Yep. If we draw a red land, well, we don't. So, and your go at it. Well, hopefully he doesn't blow up our birds. If he does, that's bad. Could just attack here. Cool. Well, that's nice. If we draw a land, he doesn't attack. Interesting. Wonder why not. That's a good pull, guys. So what we're going to do, just to put him behind a little bit and force him to activate, we're going to get a plateau here. Force him to activate his treetop village and hopefully not do much to develop his board. We're going to blow up his elves. I think if he has the additional land, yeah, we're going to fight this. If he has the additional land, then he's most certain. I believe he's almost 100% to kill our Garrick on his turn, which is kind of what I want him to do. Like, if he does that, and if he doesn't, like, I still have a great card. Oh, he's out? Yeah, this game's over. Maze of Ith, yeah, it's a stinker. That's one of the cards I think I've noted before I do not like in this deck. Create a 1/1. And we'll play out not only one miner, but two. We're going mining all day long. Not to mention, if he removes them with non-exiling effects, we get more cards in our graveyard for Garruk. With his plus ability, which I don't think is an irrelevant ability. I think that ability actually comes into play a lot. Especially in a Naya deck that has a lot of creatures. So, more of a gambit play. If that Maze of Ith had been any mana-producing land that was untapped, he would have just, I think, gotten it. From here, though, I mean, even if he has a land to activate his Treetop Village, you only bring it down to 1. I'll block with the Wolf, almost 100%. And then Dwarven Mine him on the following turn. Yeah. Yeah, Garruk is pretty good there. He's probably frustrated he's playing Maze of Ith in his deck. I don't think that's a card that should be in that deck. I'll be honest. It's a fine card, but it's just when it doesn't make mana for you on the turn you need it to, it just becomes so wretched. Maybe Pyroclasm's good in this matchup. I don't know. It runs a lot of dorks. I mean, we do too, though. Yeah, no, it's not good enough. Pyroclasm's like for like White Weenie. That's like when they're just running all like cards that die to it. Although, how good do I think this matchup is against White Weenie? It's probably okay. It's got a lot of creature cards. This is going to have a difficult time dealing with like White Weenie, like protection from red cards, though, because the removal is all red-based. I guess there's like an O-Ring. It's really more for Planeswalkers, enchantment types. Yeah, the play was actually designed for the Garruk to die. When the Garruk didn't die, it was like, well, now I can't lose. But yeah, the play was designed around the miners more than anything, because his deck I don't think can handle a miner. If it doesn't kill a miner, it's not going to handle it. Because I would have definitely not killed his 3/3 land as a Treetop Village. I would have killed this white-producing land if he had tapped out to do that, so he couldn't Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares my miners. Yeah. Okay, this is a keep. Yep, we're going to keep this. We have a mana dork of our own this time. Note he's on 6 cards, is on the play, which is a lot worse. Going to 6 on the draw is not as bad. Sometimes you can even like do value mulligans on 6, down to 6 on the play. You can take 2? No. Okay, cool. Well, here then. Now, change of pace. I was thinking about just playing the Weather Wayfarer out, but with a Birthing Pod, I think I just want to get that on the board as fast as possible. So, a Savannah, and Noble Hierarch. And we could go Fauna Shaman, Wayfarer next turn, our slow hand. You gonna path this thing or something? I guess not. Well, hopefully he doesn't have like a Toxic Deluge or something. I don't think that would have been a card he brought in this matchup, but who knows? He obviously needs black mana as well to do that. If he T-Dells me, I'm probably going to lose. Well, not necessarily, I suppose. He doesn't have the mana for it anyways. Alright, you have a relevant creature card, good sir. Well, if we draw an untapped land, we're not likely to use our Weather Wayfarer. Wayfarer's going to be good here, though. Wayfarer is like, I'm a fan favorite of this card. Like, I think it's a great card. Alright, Birthing Pod. Cool. Well, I guess we're just going for a land and Oblivion Ringing that. I think that's the right play. Oh, we could have our own, though. Yeah. Alright, guys. Well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to blow up Our own Duskwatch Recruiter. To get a Reclamation Sage, blowing up the Birthing Pod. Alright, a Reclamation Sage. Why are you gold? I don't know. Yeah, the other option had been to just go for a Needle Spires. I guess we do get some 1-1 value, some 2-2 value off the Noble Hierarch and the 1-1 here. And we should have attacked for 3. That was the right play. I just slammed the pod though. Vesuva should come out of this deck, as should the Mazavith. I think he gets a good land out of it though. He has black mana fixing now. I'm gonna remove my Reclamation Sage or get my Birthing Pod. I'm just glad to have dealt with his Birthing Pod, because like knowing that was in his hand, there's so many game plans that build around that card. Alright, Elves and that thing. Cool. Well, what 4 drops do I want here? Well, not a bad one. I think here, we're just going to fetch for a land. Not City of Brass, more than likely. You just get a Caracas. And, I think I'm just going to get... an Obstinate Baloth here. No. We're going to get a Flame Tongue Kavu and just get rid of this thing while we can. Birthing Pod, so OP. And we do have a Burst Lightning. I mean, we're at 10 life. Could just get burned down or something crazy. Alright, well, that's a good card. He can cast it back too if he likes. Oh. We'll attack with this guy. If he wants to trade 3 Spirit tokens, I'm actually okay with that. Maybe supposed to chump it. 3? Okay. I mean, I've known I could get a 5-drop, but I'd rather just trade him because I don't want to get down aggroed here. He's going to put all of them in front of it. He's double thinking himself. Okay. And you know what? I am gonna punish him for it. Okay, there you go. Let's check something out, guys. I gotta look at this deck real fast to see what my 5 options are. Thragtusk or Zealous Conscripts. Okay. Well, I'll say this. I think Thragtusk is right here. And I don't need to take more damage. So we'll pod this away. Put a Tusk into play. Although, another cool thing... Now, we can't untap the Birthing Pod, though. We could, like... Oh, wait. No. We could do it. We could have podded into Zealous Conscripts, untapped the Birthing Pod, and then podded into a Primeval Titan. Should have been pretty cool, too, but, like, I'm just going to play it safe here. Gain the life. That's a lot of life. Puts stun life parity, but I think I'm up on the board. Yeah. Is a pretty commanding position, I think. Well, a Siege Rhinoceros. Cool. May even just be going into... Not going to attack with his flyer. I think he probably wants to there. Interesting. Well, all right. Yeah, I tend to be okay with that. Go up to Finks here. Or we could do Tracker. No, let's just do Finks. Leave Fiery Justice up. If he fires up his 3/4 land to attack, or block, really, you punish him pretty hard for that. Alright, a Scavenging Ooze. That can be pumped? Oh, to a 5/5. Okay. Oops. Yep. A Fiery Justice is definitely a sorcery. Weakness of the card. And here, we're just going to path this thing. If he wants to gain the life, that's cool with me. He can start eat my graveyard. I don't have a lot of recursion. I have like Eternal Witness and like Den Protector, but like not a graveyard-based deck. Really just a value deck. Yep. Plus, it's possible if he goes up on enough lands, we could actually start using the Wither Wayfarer again. Generally only need like 1 or 2 activations of a Wither Wayfarer to feel like you've really gotten value out of a 1-drop, though. I mean, a 1-drop creature that replaces itself is pretty amazing, in my opinion. Okay, I got a 5/5, and you're at 19 life, but your board situation is a lot more dubious than mine is. Just take it. Alrighty, well, I guess just taking it. Anything here? We will get rid of this thing. And here for a 4-drop, yeah, we'll just get Obstinate Baloth. And we're at 20 life again. We've gained approximately 1,000,000 life. Done most of the damage ourselves here, but that is what it is. Fiery Justice not looking great here. Okay, well, you can have Fiery Justice or Oblivion Ring. Either one of them are great options for you. I think next turn we'll do our ultra cool line of play, which is to sack the Obstinate Baloth, finding the Zealous Conscripts, untapping the Birthing Pod, and transmuting it into Primeval Titan, which is pretty sweet. It's kind of like some of the tricks. There used to be like a blue-based like pod deck that had like Exarchs in it and Pestermites to do that. Or we could just like find it with that, I guess, too. All right, well, let's at least get our attacks in. We'll get in there with Obstinate Baloth. Not going to throw away. Don't want to throw away anything else. I mean, I guess I could use the Fiery Justice post-combat if I want to throw away the Finks. Yep, it's fine. Alrighty, so here we are going to do this. Into this. Into this. All right. Well, let's get some man lands. We don't run Gavany Township in this, do we? Probably should, actually. We'll get a Wasteland, and we will get, I believe, a Raging Ravine? Or Treetop. Treetop's just fine. Because I want to be able to activate both in a turn. I already have a 4-mana activation, or essentially 5 because it attacks. Weather Wayfarer is done. I don't think he's ever going to get up on lands as high as we are. I don't know what we could Greenstone Zenith for. What's left in the deck that's viable? I mean, I'm not going to Greenstone Zenith for a... I guess, like... There's really nothing. There's just 3s left. He may have just conceded the game. Yeah. Good games, man. Alright, well guys, we're going to take a break at this point, and I'll post this one up. Hope you guys enjoyed the matches. Again, this is 100-card singleton. It's played competitively every Saturday at 15:30 or 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And it may have just changed, but if you are interested, go on to gatling.com. I say again, gatling.com, and it's called the Chainsaw Massacre. It's every Saturday again. Just re-verify the time on my behalf, because sometimes I forget what time it is. Maybe 16:30 now. Because of daylight savings time. But if you are interested in playing it, go on to gatling.com and follow the MTG Salvation link to the Chainsaw Massacre 100-card singleton every Saturday, and it'll explain the rules to you there on the page 1. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and take care.